Welcome to Gayle Jann Yoga. I'm Gayle. All of us have felt anxiety at some time in our life, whether we're worrying about the future or worrying about the past or feeling stressed about what's happening right now. This practice will help you to relieve some of that tension, some of the tightness that's built up, and help you to feel really good and more relaxed. Remember, whenever you're practicing yoga, to listen to what's going on inside of you, to stay safe and injury-free. So we're going to start on our backs with your right hand on your chest, your left hand on your belly. You want to be breathing fully enough that you can feel both hands rise and fall with the inhale and the exhale. When we're breathing fully, the diaphragm moves its full range of motion, and it massages the vagus nerve, which stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system that governs our rest and digest. We actually should be spending more time in the rest and digest and less time in the fight or flight. But when we're anxious, we tend to stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, and that tightens our muscles and causes us to, even our mind, to be agitated and uncomfortable. And since the mind and body are so connected, they influence each other. So by focusing on the breath, slowing down the breath, being aware of the breath, we start to release some of the tension and anxiety that can happen in our day-to-day lives. So whenever you're feeling anxious, it's a good idea to just stop for a moment, focus on your breath. Make sure you feel the diaphragm moving up and out, or feel your breath like being nice and full. And stretch your arms over your head, bring your feet as wide as the mat. We'll do some windshield wiper twists back and forth. So every time you are twisted to one side, stay there for a few breaths. Really stretch out through the top knee, pull your belly back. That's one way of increasing the stretch and keeping it safe, by activating the muscles and using the action of your knee pressing forward and your belly drawing the hips back a little bit to give you a little extra stretch on the hamstring. And hug your knees into your chest, gently rock from side to side, do some circles. Give yourself a little self-massage on your hips and your low back. Reverse the direction of your circles if you're circling. Really enjoy this little self-massage, little mini self-massage. And hold on to your right knee, pull your right knee to the outside of your ribs as you stretch through the left toe mountain, straightening the left leg on the floor. And switch sides, hug the left knee in, stretch the right leg out. And bring both feet to the floor for bridge pose. So feet as close to your hips as you can go. And pressing into your feet on your inhale, lift your hips, lift your arms, so you reach your arms overhead. And as you exhale, come down from the upper back to the middle back, to the low back, and finally the hips and the hands touch the floor together. We'll do that a couple more times. So inhale, press into your feet, squeeze your legs in, reach your arms over your head as you lift the hips. And exhale, slowly lower down from your upper back through your hands. And keep moving back and forth with your breath, lifting the hips, lifting the upper back, reaching through the fingertips, and slowly lowering down, upper back, middle back, lower back, hips and hands together. And hug both knees into your chest again. Hold the back of your thighs, rock up to seated. Make your way into child's pose. Hips resting on your heels. If that's not possible, that's fine. Keep your hips up in the air. You're welcome to use a blanket under your knees or behind your knees on top of your calves. Let your forehead rest on the floor, relaxing through your neck and shoulders, arms forward. Breathe into your back. Feel the back ribs move with the breath. And walk your hands over to the right. Set your left hand on top of the right hand and shift your hips slightly to the left so you get a big long stretch on your left side. Breathe here. Breathe into the stretch. Breathe into that left side. And walk your hands back through center and over to the left, stretching the right hand on top of the left, shifting the hips and the ribs a little bit to the right, getting another long stretch through the right side of your body. And slowly walk your hands back to center. Again, rest your forehead on the floor. And keeping your forearms on the floor, lift your hips up and stretch your chest toward the floor, hips to the sky, as you stretch out in your upper back in puppy pose. We'll stay here just a few more breaths, just letting your upper back open and relax. And press into your hands, start to lift your chest up. Walk your knees forward and sit down, bringing both legs over to the right so that your right ankle is resting on top of your left arch. And then reach your right arm up and back to stretch out that whole right side. Lower your hips and twist to the right towards your feet. And inhale, swing your right arm behind you, sweep your left arm over your head, arch up through your back, and exhaling, lower down, twist to the right. Last time, inhale, reach up, really stretch from your fingers, and if you want, you can straighten that right leg. So you have a long line of stretch between your right foot and your right fingers. Come back to center and just flip your legs so that both legs are twisted to the left. We'll do the same thing on the left side. So place your right hand behind you, sweep your left arm over, and lower down, twist to the left. Inhale, lift the hips, stretch the arm, open the chest. Exhale, lower down, twist to the left. Last time, inhale, sweep your arms out. Exhale, open up, reach out through that left leg. And on your next exhale, come down into seated. This time bring the soles of your feet together in Baddha Konasana. Hold your feet with your hands. Begin a cat-cow here. So as you inhale, stretch from your low back forward, opening up the chest. And as you exhale, pull your belly back towards your spine, rounding the back. Inhale, arch forward. Exhale, round back. And go back and forth at your own pace. You may start to move a little more quickly as your back becomes more open. So really just focus on the breath. And then reverse the direction. So you kind of start bowing forward and reaching forward and then arch back. So inhale, stretch forward and arch up, and exhale, round back. Really just moving your spine as much as you can in both directions. Then rest your left forearm on your left thigh, and you can use the palm of your right hand to press into your right inner thigh. Just working your palm from your hip towards your knee. And switch sides. Anchor your right thigh with your right forearm. And use your left hand to press and release throughout the whole left inner thigh. And bring your knees up so that you can grab your knees with your hands. So your hands are crossed, your left hand is on your right knee, your right hand is on your left knee. And you can just kind of stretch your knees open to stretch the back of the shoulders and rock around on your hips. Then switch sides, bring the right hand on top. And just gentle movements here, rocking, rolling, whatever feels good to you. Bring both knees up together and squeeze your arms around your knees. Give yourself a little hug. Let your head relax on your knees. And release your hands and take your blocks. And we'll place them on your mat so we can do a nice passive shoulder opener. So the first block you want right underneath the back of your shoulder blades. The second block underneath your head. So the first block shouldn't be in your low back, and it shouldn't be right on the top of the shoulders, but right on the back of the shoulders so it opens up the chest. On the second block, right underneath your head, take time to adjust the position of the block. And it can be on the same height, or it can be on the lowest height, or it can be on the highest height. Try and avoid the highest height unless you really need it. If you can go on the lowest height, so the block under your head is a little bit lower than the block under your shoulders, that would be a little more ideal, give you a little more stretch. And your legs can be in any position. They can be straight, they can be knees bent. Another option that I'm showing here is to use the blocks on the highest height, so using both blocks underneath your shoulder blades. You have to do a little bit of a back bend so that you don't knock the blocks down as you lower onto the blocks. And then interlace your fingers behind your head and let your head kind of release back into your hands. Your elbows can be closer together or further apart. Again, your legs can be in any position. Here I'm in Baddha Konasana. And I like to alternate between bringing the elbows apart and bringing them together. It feels different in my shoulders, so just try different positions of your arms and legs. It can be different every time you do this. There's no exact one way to do it. They all have their benefits, different benefits. The idea is you want to be able to relax here and let the upper back open. This is a place where we tend to round forward. We tend to build tightness across the pectoral muscles in the front of the chest. So it becomes very hard to open up like this and be in this little bit of a back bend. Or it might be a big back bend for you. So if it's uncomfortable, lower the block. Make sure that you're comfortable, but that you feel a good stretch. So that you can be a little bit uncomfortable, but mostly comfortable. And also, this video is designed to help release anxiety. So you don't want to force it to be so open that your body ends up tensing up because it feels like it could be in danger. That's what happens when we're anxious. We think we're in danger. So you want to eliminate that feeling completely. And you can do this anytime you want. Like even if you just have a couple of minutes, just get out some blocks or books and rolled up blankets and open up the chest. It'll do wonders for you. It's amazing how good it feels. And keep coming back to your breath and making sure the breath is full. And you can bring your knees together and either roll off to the side, or if you're on the highest height, come on up, move the blocks. Move one block off to the side, and then we're going to take one block and use it under our necks. So you want the top edge of the block that's closest to your shoulders, underneath the occipitus, the base of the skull. You want your chin lifted. And the top of the block is tilting away from your body. And if you lift your chin just the right amount, and the block is tilted just the right amount, you can roll your head from side to side, and the block will give you a little gentle massage. Just back and forth. You can lift and lower your chin just slightly. And then roll your head to the right and stay there for a few breaths. And now the effect of the block will feel deeper. It'll be a little more intense. But after a couple of breaths, you should start to relax and release a little bit as well. So it's partly up to your focus with your mind and your intention, being able to relax and release into this. It's a great way to give yourself a little self-massage in the back of your neck, where we tend to carry a lot of tension. And you can turn your head to the left and do the same thing on the left side. Just letting yourself rest there. Relax into this little self-massage, releasing some tension in the neck. that maybe anxiety has brought on, maybe inactivity has brought on, but nevertheless, you want to relax those muscles. And you can come back to center and just a little bit of like a yes nod, lifting and lowering the chin just slightly. It doesn't have to be a big movement. Just noticing what you feel. And then you can move the block off to the side, lower onto your back. Keep your knees bent or straighten the legs. And just let your whole back relax. So we're taking like a little mini savasana just for a couple of breaths so you can enjoy the effect of the upper back opening, the neck massage. Do any little adjusting that will feel good for you. Maybe wiggle the shoulders or the hips. And then rock on up. And we're going to do a calf opener. So grab a blanket and fold the blanket in quarters so that it's longer in length than it is in width. And start to roll the blanket up as tightly as you can. Take a little time so it's not soppy, so that it's smooth and tight. And then come onto your hands and knees and really stretch your hips forward so you can nestle the blanket in the back of your knees and hold it there as you sit back on the blanket. So you might want to have a block handy if this is really tight for you, if it's really tender. So if you have a block, you can kind of lean forward, get some weight off the blanket roll. Again, I'm trying to start with it really tight against the knees. But you can control how much weight you put onto the block. And actually it's better to start with a little less weight at first so that your body doesn't tense up. And as you become more comfortable with this, you can sit back more. So it's totally up to you. Make sure that you honor your body, that you listen to it, and you just don't try and think that, no pain, no gain. Instead, it's like listen to your body. Don't go into pain. Discomfort, yes, because we're doing things that are out of our normal daily range of motion and activity. But pain, no. We're going to slowly move the blanket down our legs just a little teeny bit at a time. So if you move it barely an inch, it'll feel like you've moved it a couple of inches. And just notice where you feel more tension, in the top of the calves, the middle calves, or the lower calves. And you can move around on the blanket roll however you want to move. Just nice slow movements. We're going to move it down one more time, closer to the ankles. And for a lot of you, this might be the least intense. For some of you, it might be more intense. It really all depends on each person individually. You can lean back a little bit further if you want. And move the blanket off to the side. Or if you want, you could use it underneath your knees. If your knees feel uncomfortable on the mat. So it's totally up to you. And bring your right foot forward. Take both blocks, one on either side of your front foot. We're going to work on stretching the feet. So bring your right heel up. Keep the big toe mound down on the floor. It's easy for it to come up. And try and lift your heel. Reach your knee forward. Feel a stretch on your toes. Maybe a stretch on the sole of your foot. So really focusing on the big toe going down, the heel lifting up. You'll probably feel a stretch on your back, hip flexors, right where the top of the leg and the hips meet. And point your left toes, your back toes, and you can pull your foot in, but the toes pointing behind you, you want to press back through your foot so you stretch out the top of your foot. So the foot drags forward and the hips press back a little bit. You can step your foot back and tuck your toes. So you're stretching the toes on the back foot, just like we stretched them on the front foot before. So lots of different variations you can play with here. The closer you let that back thigh get to the floor, the bigger the stretch you'll get on the hip flexor. And pull your right hip back, stretch forward over your right leg, and you can rock your hips from side to side. So you feel a stretch a little bit more on the inside of your leg, a little bit more on the outside of the leg. You can pulse here, just gentle pulses. And move back and forth between the right knee coming forward and straightening the leg as you pull your right hip back. Again, just staying in each position as long as you want. And then you can stack 2 blocks or 1 block, place your left hand on the block, reach back with your right hand for your left foot. You don't have to use any blocks if you don't want. And this is a quad stretch and a back bend and a twist. So think of pulling your heel in towards your hip, opening your chest toward the sky, twisting toward the right, towards your front leg. And you can release that foot and maybe bow over your leg again. A little extra hamstring stretch there if you want. And then you can take 1 block or 2 blocks or no blocks to the inside of your front foot, the right foot, and bring your forearms onto the block. And again, just move your hips around back and forth, side to side, circles, whatever feels good. And then place your left hand on the block out to the left side, or you don't have to use the block, and let your right knee open out to the side. You can take your right hand on the inside of your right knee. And then we're going to switch to the other leg in front. So bring the left leg forward, use your blocks, lift up the left heel, stretching out the left toes. Big toe mound down, heel up. Then you can even start to lift the back leg up a little bit if your toes, with your toes pointed. You can decide how close to bring that back leg, but I think you want to feel a stretch on the top of your foot all the way up your shin. Maybe curling back into the toes, stretching the toes a little bit more, bending the toes a little bit more. So you just do it to your range of motion that your body is ready for now. Don't try and force anything, but do try and stretch. And you can lower the right knee down. Again, you can always place a blanket under your knees. We're going to stretch out the hip flexors of the back leg and the hamstrings of the front leg. So I like to gently move a little bit, just playing with whatever I'm feeling in the moment. It's really useful to use blocks, especially if your hamstrings are tight, so that you're not just sitting back on your heel, but your hips are moving back and your chest is moving forward. So hips in one direction, chest in the other direction. And again, sway your hips from side to side. You can bring your blocks over to the right hand. Reach back with your left hand for your right foot. Stretch the calf or the hamstrings, the quads, all of it really. So you can bring your hips back to your heel, you can bring your heel to your hips. Doesn't matter how close you get, you just play with whatever range of motion is available for you today. And you release your foot. Bring your blocks to the inside of the front foot. The front knee open out to the side. You could even use one hand on the inside of your left leg to open it a little bit more, using the block or not using the block, keeping the foot nice and active. Not trying to force anything, but just ease your way into it. You can straighten the leg for a little hamstring stretch again. And you can move the blocks out of the way for now, and we're going to stretch out the wrists. So point your fingers towards your knees and start to rock back and forth. If it's too much to point your fingers back, then just turn your fingers out to the side and rock from side to side. So rocking in the direction of the fingers. And you can sit back on your heels, bring the palms together, and keeping the heels of the hands connected for as long as you can, lower the hands down and then pull them up by your chest. Reversing the hands, flipping the fingers. And then cross your wrists. Right wrist over the left, interlace the fingers, and bending the elbows, rotate the palms in and out. You can switch sides, so now the left wrist is crossed over the right, and the opposite pinky finger is on top, and then bend the elbows, draw the hands in, and stretch them out. And you can make a fist with your hand and take the opposite hand and pull your hand towards your chest as you push your wrist away. So you're pushing into resistance to get a stretch on the top of your hands. Another way to do this is to bring the knuckles together and try and keep those knuckles together as you bend and straighten your arms. So straightening the arms will stretch out the top of the hands and shake it out a little bit. Come back into your tabletop. Begin to cat-cow. Trying to use that openness that we've been creating in our back by using the blocks, using puppy pose. So not just mindlessly going through the cat-cow, but being fully engaged, really reaching through the front of the chest, pushing the back of the shoulder blades forward. And you can walk your hands forward, come onto the forearms, lower your belly to the floor, coming into Sphinx pose. Make sure that your elbows are a little more forward rather than back. And then as you inhale, puff up into your back body, lower the ribs all the way to the floor, stretch your heart forward, shoulders back. We'll do that a couple more times. And lift the hips, coming into a forearm plank. So you don't want any sagging here. With the ribs drawing in, the belly engaged, legs really strong. And stretch the chest forward, heels back. Press into your hands. And see if you can find a lightness here in forearm plank. And lower your hips to the floor, point your toes. And again, think of ribs to the floor, chest forward, shoulders back. Working the back muscles in the back of the shoulders. And then press into your forearms, lift the hips up. The more we can strengthen our core, the more it supports our back. The more our back is supported, the less it's going to hurt. The less it hurts, the less tense we are. So everything is connected. Everything kind of leads into the other thing. It supports when we open our mind, when we open our bodies. When we open our bodies, we help to open our minds. And shift your hips back into child's pose. Let your back relax, your neck relax. Maybe notice if child's pose is challenging for you. Maybe notice if it feels a little gentler, a little more comfortable after the work we've been doing, opening up the upper back. And then start to slide forward, again, coming into puppy pose, but from a different place. So before we were walking the hips back, and this time we're walking the chest forward. Press into the hands. Focus on the upper back, releasing. Using the breath to help you relax a little bit more into this pose that is kind of counter to what we normally do. And if it feels good for you and you want to straighten your legs, it's another option. It might not be the option for you. So knees down or up. Bring your hands back, shift your hips back, come back into your tabletop. And again, cat-cow. So I just feel like I can't get in enough cat-cows. You can also add other movements in here. So you can roll the ribs like a barrel, one direction and then the other direction, and roll the shoulders in circles. So the shoulders come forward and then up and back and down. Reverse the direction of your circles. And start to circle through the hips. So lift your left knee up. And circles, they don't have to be super big right now. And start them small and then see if your hip is ready to open up a little bit more. And bring your foot behind you and just keep stretching your foot back, opening up the front of the hip, reaching back through that top foot. And bring your leg out to the side with your leg straight. You want weight on all four corners of your foot. So it's if you were standing, so you're not caving in on that foot. Start to rock forward and back. Nice and gentle. And you can bring your foot all the way forward to the corner of your mat and then swing it behind you and over to the left. Look over your left shoulder. And swing the leg back around and forward of your hand. And then out to the side and across to the left, looking over that left shoulder, pressing out through the heel. Stretch it forward and back over to the right, looking over the right shoulder. I might have said the wrong shoulder before, but looking over the same shoulder as the side of your body your foot is on. And come back to center and a few more barrel rolls. Start to rotate the right hip, gradually making the circles a little bit bigger. And you can reverse the direction of the circles if you like. Really, the idea here is just getting movement of the hips. And stretch your right leg out to the right. Keep an arch on the inside edge of your foot. Rock forward and back, nice and gently. You can swing your right leg forward and sweep it around behind you, foot to the left, look over the left shoulder, and swing your leg back around to the outside of your front hand toward the front of the mat, and then wide circle, semicircle over, crossing your leg to the left. And again, back to front, out to the side, across. Come back into your tabletop. Tuck your toes. Sit back on your heels with the ribs lifted so your back stays nice and full. Arms are off the floor. And lift your hips straight up and back to downward facing dog. Keep a little bend in your knees. Focus on lengthening through your spine. Keep lifting through the belly. Arms strong. Rotate those triceps back. Reach from your hips down to your heels and come up onto your toes, and keeping your hips nice and high, walk your hands forward. Come up onto your tiptoes, get some weight into those toes, and lower the heels down. Lift the front of your foot up and place your hands underneath your foot. So here your knees might need to be bent a lot. And if this is just too much for you right now, you don't have to do it. So your hands could be on blocks in their forward fold. You don't want to stress out your low back. But if you can, press your feet into your hands. Maybe do a little cat-cow action here. Feel the difference when your pelvis is tilted forward or back. And then ragdoll hang. So hold your elbows with your hands. Gently rock your hips side to side. Release the hands. Keep the legs strong and slowly roll all the way up to stand. Reach your fingertips toward the sky, palms together. And hands to your heart center. On your next inhale, reach your arms up toward the sky, gaze up. And bring the back of your hands together, press into your left foot and stretch over to the right. Inhale back to center. Switch the cross of your wrists, pressing into the right foot, stretch way over to the left. Stretching that whole right side. Inhale back to center, release your hands, exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, long flat back. Exhale, bow. Step your legs back to plank. Keep the back nice and full. And bend your knees, arch your back, stretch back to down dog. So we're doing cat-cow, back and forth, from plank to down dog. Really trying to ripple through the spine, arching and rounding the back. And stretch back into your down dog and bend one knee at a time, stretching the opposite heel toward the floor. Inhale, reach the right leg up, come up onto your left tiptoes, bend your knee, pull your knee into your chest, step your foot forward between your hands for a crescent lunge. Press into the back foot as much as the front foot. Inhale, rise up, arms to the sky. Exhale, bring your right hand to your right thigh, reach your left arm up and across, stretching that whole left hip flexor. Inhale back to center, lower your left hand to the floor and open twist to the right. Lower your right hand down, step back, down dog. And take a breath to get nice and long through your spine. And inhale the left leg up, come up high into the right tiptoes, hug your knee to your chest, step your leg all the way forward. Place your foot, inhale, rise up with your breath. Fingertips toward the sky, heart nice and open. Exhale, bring your left hand to your left thigh. Reach your right arm up and across for a big stretch on the right. Inhale back up to center. Bring your right hand down and twist to the left. So shoulder leads the way, ribs lead the way, hand follows. Bring your hand back down, step back to your down dog. And look forward to your hands, bend your knees and with a nice spring, hop or step your feet forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow. Press into your legs nice and strong. Inhale, rise all the way up with your breath. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms wide. Gaze toward the sky, fingertips up. Exhale, bow over your legs. Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back to plank. Again, keep that fullness in your plank. And then shift your weight forward and back, pressing through your toes to shift forward and stretching back through your heels to come back. And lower through chaturanga. Knees can be on the floor or lifted. Hips to the floor, open up, cobra. Open up into the upper back. Exhale, tuck your toes, stretch back, down dog. Inhale the right leg up again. Exhale, bring your right foot forward between your hands. Crescent lunge, keep the back heel lifted. Inhale, rise up with your breath, pushing out through that back foot, and then rotate the back heel down, open up, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So I like to take a little bit of time to find my way into the pose and really use that back leg. Don't forget about the back leg. You want the front hip wrapping down and underneath you. And reach out through your fingertips. Interlace your fingers behind your back, rotate toward your front knee, bow to the inside of your knee, reaching your arms up over your head, maybe reaching forward a little bit. So just finding your place, wherever your arms end up. You want to have a nice stretch and you want to keep the shoulders lifting away from the floor. So front of the shoulders lifting away from the floor. Then pivot into a wide-legged forward fold, bending one knee at a time. Maybe coming into Skandasana, really deep bend. Maybe Skandasana on the second side. So your right leg is straight, you're in a deep bend with the left knee. And just back and forth, Just opening up the inner thighs, the front leg. Then take a block. Make sure you have a block handy by the front of your mat. We're going to come into triangle pose, Trikonasana. So use your right hand on the block, open the left shoulder up, and even reach your left arm behind your back so you get the shoulders super open, both legs strong. And finally reach your left arm toward the sky. Gaze is maybe up, and bend your front knee. Reach your left arm over your ear, gaze still up at the sky from underneath your left arm. Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Then place your hands to the floor and step back, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it all the way forward for your lunge. Keeping the legs strong. Engage your belly. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, open up into warrior two. So back foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. Again, take time to really root through both legs so you're not just leaning into the front leg. Draw the low belly in and up. Front knee tracks over the second toe. Reach out through the fingertips, maybe get a little lower, and interlace your fingers behind your back. Exhale, twist toward the front leg. Reach forward to the inside of your leg. Keep the shoulders lifting, front of the shoulders lifting. Maybe your arms can stretch a little bit forward, maybe not. So you're squeezing the back of the shoulder blades, opening up the front of the shoulders. And reach your hands back. Pivot the feet, again coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Bending one knee at a time. Maybe going into Skandasana, arms out to the side. And switch sides. And come back to center. Keep moving around, opening up those inner thighs. So important to having a healthy back. And walk your hands forward to the front of the mat again. We'll do triangle on the left. Bring your right hand behind you, open up the shoulders, gaze toward the sky. And the shoulders are already open, so all you have to do is release your hand, fingertips toward the sky. Both arms in line with each other, then bend your front knee, sweep the top arm forward, side angle pose, Parsvakonasana. Lower your top hand down, and step back, downward facing dog. Again, pedal out the feet, keep the belly nice and strong, active, belly lifting. And bend your knees and hop or step forward. Inhaling, lift up halfway. Exhale, come into a squat, so widen your feet as much as you need to. Bring your elbows to your inner thighs. Try and keep your shoulders more back than forward, thinking of stacking the shoulders over the hips, even though they won't literally get there. And if you want to work the ankles, work the feet, you can shift your weight forward, lift the heels up. And the idea is to lower with control. So again, shift the weight forward, pick the heels up, squeeze your legs in, press out through your elbows, lift up through the belly, lift up through the crown of the head, and lower your hips all the way to the floor. And slowly make your way onto your back, either with or without your hands. Hug your knees into your chest, rock around, give yourself that nice sweet massage. We'll do some gentle hip openers. So first, hold the back of your thighs close to your knees. Try and keep your sit bone, your tail on the floor, tailbone on the floor, shoulders on the floor, and then bring your feet parallel to the ceiling. If you can hold your feet without your hips lifting off the floor, your shoulders off the floor, hold your feet. Otherwise, hold lower down. You can even keep holding the back of your thighs. And hold your right leg, release your left leg, so you're in half happy baby. And if you can, bring your right leg across, and then bring the left knee back up, coming into eye of the needle. So right hand threads between the two legs, Fingers are clasped on the back of your left thigh. Keep your right foot active, that top foot active to protect your knee. Maybe even flex both feet. You can gently pull your left leg in and release it. And then release your hands and twist your right leg over to the left side. So keeping that right knee lifted. This is a little bit of a different twist than what we normally do with the knees together. This time the knees are apart. You can take your left hand and press into the inside of your right thigh to create a little space in that right hip flexor. You could hold your right foot with your left hand, adjusting the position of your foot. You could let the top leg relax a little bit and kind of come a little bit toward the floor, or you could press it open with engaging your muscles. You could even support your top leg with your left hand. And come back up into your full happy baby again. Rock from side to side. Release the right leg to the floor. Bring the left leg into happy baby and then bring it across for baby cradle. So your knees out to the side, to the left side, your foot is to the right side. And then thread your left hand in between your legs. Interlace the fingers in the back of your right thigh. Gently pulse your thigh towards your chest and release. Keeping the feet nice and active, shoulders and hips on the floor. And then you can release your arms, bring your left leg across to the right. Maybe hold on to the left ankle with your right hand. Maybe use your right hand to press the left thigh open. So different options here. They all have their own benefits. So the idea is for you to try them out, see how it feels. Make sure you're doing what feels appropriate for you right now. So listening to your inner wisdom, to your gut feelings, to those random thoughts that appear. And just try things, experiment, find out for yourself how it feels. That's the goal of yoga, is getting to know yourself at deeper and deeper and deeper levels. And finding that honor and respect and listening to your own self so that you avoid injury and become the best that you can be. Really revealing that true inner self that always lies within each and every one of us. And come back up to center, uncross your legs, come into your happy baby again. Remember, shoulders and hips to the floor. Hold whatever part of your leg is accessible to you to keep that back down. And hug your knees into your chest. Stretch your arms out to the side. And this time we're going to twist with the legs together. So shift your hips a little bit to the left and twist your legs to the right. Turn your head to the left. And just let everything relax. If you need to make a few little adjustments, you can do that. Just think of relaxing here and letting go. And that's what we have to do for anxiety, is just let those thoughts that are bothering us, that are nagging at us, letting them go. Letting them go with the breath, knowing that worrying is not going to change anything. It's not going to make us feel better. What will make us feel better is turning to the breath and taking action in the direction of a solution for whatever is bothering us. Whether it means starting that project, whether it means calling that friend, whether it means forgiving yourself. A twist over to the left. So hip shift to the right, legs go to the left, head to the right. And again, let yourself relax. It's so important to let yourself relax. Oftentimes we treat that as a luxury, like we always have to be going, doing. Sometimes we need to just relax and settle down. Use the breath to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system and trust that we will be taken care of. Bring your knees back up. Shift your hips to center, feet to the floor. We're going to come into bridge pose again. So heels by your hips. And this time just a low bridge. So you can gently swing your hips from side to side. Nice relaxed swing. Like a swing set. Like a swinging, just nice and soft and relaxed. And lower your hips to the floor again. Hug your knees into your chest. And we're going to do a little palming. So relaxing the eyes. So cup your hands, and then you want to use the outside edges of your hands to seal around your eyes. So there's nothing touching your eyelids, but all around your eyes is sealed, so no light is coming in. And let yourself relax here. This is called palming. It's one of the best things you can do to help your eyesight. Because our eyes depend on what our mind is doing. And if the mind is agitated, it's going to affect our eyesight on some level. Maybe not now, but maybe over time. So giving the eyes a rest is so important. The optic nerve is working even when we're sleeping and dreaming. So it's so important to take time to let the optic nerve rest, to be comfortable in the darkness. The darkness is where healing takes place. A lot of transformation can happen in the dark. So if you could do this daily, maybe in bed before you get out of bed, and maybe in bed just before you go to sleep, or anytime you know you just need to relax a little bit more, just cup your hands, block out the light. A dark room is best for this, but it can work in a light room. The key is to let yourself relax, to breathe easily, to focus on the exhale and letting go and letting the darkness embrace you. The darkness doesn't have to be something we fear. The unknown doesn't have to be something we fear. The mysterious doesn't have to be something we fear. Instead, we can embrace all of these. And in the process of doing that, release anxiety. And you can stay here palming a little longer, or if you're ready to stretch out into Savasana, you can straighten out your arms and legs. Again, take time to find a position that feels really good for you. If that means placing a blanket over you so you stay warm, do that. If that means wiggling your shoulders a little bit to find more space, and you want to feel the whole back on the floor so the belly's relaxing toward the floor, toes are turning out, palms facing up. Your arms could be out in a T shape like I'm showing here, or they could be in cactus arms, or they could be in a V shape with your arms maybe a foot or so away from your sides, palms facing up. Notice those layers as they begin to peel away slowly, so that you may feel completely relaxed, and then you relax a little bit more and you realize that there's ways of going deeper into relaxation, releasing that anxiety that might still be lingering a little bit, but trusting in your breath, trusting in your body, trusting in the process, trusting the journey, and allow yourself to be carried with your breath. You can stay here longer, or if you're ready to start coming out, just gently roll to your side and pause here. So we're not just rushing up to seated and rushing off, but you're just taking time for those transitional moments. And use your hands to gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. And think of lining up your shoulders over your hips. Bring your hands together in Lotus Mudra. So The heels of the hands are together, thumbs are together, the pinky fingers are together, and then the middle three fingers are spread apart, forming like this cup shape, a lotus shape. Bring your hands together. Namaste.